right? And after that, of course, I was working for a couple of companies, including Wipro and another real estate company. And then I was, let's say, when I just gotten into a company where I kind of knew that this is where, I'm going to, let's say, make my career. I'm going to, let's say, really build a professional life for myself. That's when my accident happened. So this was, say, like in 2011. Right, so I am a paraplegic. Paraplegic basically means, I have had a spinal cord injury, so I am paralyzed chest down. So I have no mobility or sensation in the lower part of the body. Right. So it's been Feb uh, in Feb I completed 9 years since my accident. So it's been uh, a very it's going to be almost a decade soon, but I would say perhaps it's been the most defining phase of my life. So I'll just perhaps take you through, or let's say throw light on some of the very important lessons that I've learned, and hopefully many of you will be able to relate to it also. And just and one request is, at times I tend to go a little fast. If you think I'm going too fast, please stop me. Say, ma'am, you please go a little too fast. So I take the liberty of stopping me, and I'll definitely slow down. Is that okay? Okay, fine. So here goes. So as I was saying, Feb 9, 2011, was when my accident happened, and it changed my life completely. Right? Like I said, I suppose the accident marked the most defining phase of my life, and it's been a little more than 9 years, but life goes on as it should, and life is continuing to teach me some very important lessons. So I'll of course, just highlight some of the important lessons that have been, let's say, very important for me. Right? So it's often said that we should value things and people, right? Most of us listen when this is said. We just smile and we just move on with life. I mean, come on, doesn't everyone know this? Do we really have to hear it from someone time and again? Trust me when I say this, we don't really know. We're also caught up in our own bubbles, chasing something, chasing someone, that we tend to take people and we tend to take things for granted. It's only when something happens that we realize the importance of things, and we realize the importance of people all the more. Not that I would want any of you to go through something like this in order to realize the importance of things, but I suppose we all need a trigger which prompts us to value things and people in a lot more powerful way. I learned it that way. Lesson learned. And the sentiment from our elders is that, is to help others because it always comes back around. However, I wonder, do we really do that? And how often does it make sense? Here are some examples of how it made sense to me. Before my accident, I used to donate blood whenever I could. Firstly, because it was needed by someone, and two, definitely because it's going to strengthen my own body. And I don't suppose I realized that the day would come when I'd be needing blood badly from someone else. And at that time of my accident, I'm told, I was in dire need of blood, and we had like at least 12 or 15 people coming ahead voluntarily to donate blood. See how it comes back. Let me give you another example. Before joining IBM, when I was in between jobs, I was looking for a good role. But considering my constraints, it was getting rather difficult for me to get a job in my own domain. And being the kind of person who cannot, let's say, sit idle for too long, I started teaching drawing lessons for the kids in my building. One of my neighbors, whom I didn't know really well at that point, she came to me asking if I could teach her son drawing too. Now the kid, he seemed to be really different from the usual kids. And one, he was very, very restless, and two, he could not sit still for a minute. And three, he was, let's say, disturbing almost everyone, used to even, start beating them up. So I was, of course, having my own doubts how I would be able to teach him. But then I took my sister's advice and I thought, let me just give it a shot. So I agreed to teach him, and I kind of, arranged for a different slot for this kid, For all the other kids, I used to have a different slot. But this one kid, I used to have a separate session. And I used to teach him, and this kid actually went on to do a really good job. All he wanted was that attention. Right. No, he wanted special attention. And when I was able to give it to him, he was really able to do a fine job. Right. So, and then, of course, me and his mother, we started talking. And when the mention of my job search came up, she had me, talk to her husband, who was in a good position in IBM. And believe it or not, within 1 week's time, I had the offer letter in my hand. The role was, of course, stretch outside of my domain, but it was going to keep me occupied. Right? No, it came with a lot of challenges, but I hung in there. It was, like I said, the domain was something. I was in accounts paper and coming from HR background. It didn't make any sense to me at all, but I hung in there. But now, thanks to the management, I've been given a role that is a lot closer to my area of interest. And like I did mention, I'm part of the learning and development team now. And on the 12th of November 2019, I completed 4 years with IBM. These experiences, helped me realize that when you help others, the universe gives us so much more in abundance. Lesson learned. Now, I used to sketch before my accident, but my MBA and the eventual corporate life, reduced the time that was available for me to pursue my hobby. After my fall, of course, I had a lot of time on hand, and with the time and the interest, I took it up a little more seriously. Initially, it was just meant to be a distraction, right, from all the pain, but it went on to do a lot more. It served as a confidence booster. I started trying out different medium. I started taking lessons, and I began to really enjoy the art. As I got better, I was fortunate to have got the platforms to display my art as well. I've been displaying my artwork at the Karnataka Chitrakala Parishad Chitra Samiti for the last 6 years, and I hope to continue to. In the month of May, May 2019, I through the Rotary Bangalore Abilities team, was many of you are aware. For those of you who don't know, Rotary Bangalore Abilities is a team of art people with disabilities who have, let's say, joined hands to, let's say, impact the community, sensitize the community, and bring about some kind of an impact to the community. So through this club, let's say, how do I put it? We'd organized an art exhibition, right, where we had around 30 artists, all the artists who were differently able. These are the artists who are, let's say, looked beyond their impairment and had used art as a medium of expression. Right? So these were, like I said, people with all kinds of disabilities, speech and hearing impairment, Down syndrome. We had someone with autism, right? We had, in fact, one lady with visual impairment who had actually painted. Right? So these are the ones, like I said, who would look beyond their impairments and had used art as their medium of expression. And it was an incredibly positive and inspiring experience for me, which helped me to realize that out of limitation comes creativity. Lesson learned. My accident has, of course, surely strengthened my bonds with a lot of people, be it parents, siblings, friends, or other family members. I've come to know who form our integral support system. They are the ones who are there for you, by your side, recognizing us, supporting us, giving us that helping hand, lifting us up when we're all down, by letting us know that they are there for us. The very presence of these people in our lives helps us to regain some lost strength and confidence too. There are others too who, thanks to their absence, teach us something that in terms of prosperity, your friends know you. In terms of adversity, you know your friends. Lesson learned. Another important thing that I've learned is to stay hopeful and to be positive. Surely it's difficult to see the good in all situations, but I believe that's all right. What is important is that you do not give up, be it on people or on life in general. We all, each of us, we have our own set of ordeals. And pushing ourselves through each day can be a challenge at times. But please do not succumb to the struggles. Please try your best at all things and know that things will work out. For sure. Might take some time, but hang in there. My first innings got out for 26, but in my second innings, I got to make a century, that too in style. Learn. So that is, let's say, cheers to life. Any questions, any of you?
Just a second, ma'am. I request all the others to kindly mute yourself. If you have any questions, please raise your hands, and Srinidhi will unmute you, and you
Yeah,
can ask your question.
there is an
Or you can
option.
chat, text it in the chat box, and we will
Good.
ask it.
Yeah,
Question answer session comes in.
yeah. Srinidhi, why don't you mute everyone,
Yeah, I have.
and we can continue.
Is there anyone who is unmuted? I guess we have muted almost everyone. Anyone who wants to talk can raise your hand using the more option. If you are using your phone, there's an option called more and raise hand. Manoj Kumar, was there any question from Manoj Kumar? Okay, Prerana, you can go ahead with the.
Prerna, I think you're on mute.
Unmute yourself, please.
Ma'am, please do continue.
Okay, all right, fine. So, Srinidhi, if you don't mind, can you
Yeah,
just open that
yeah.
presentation and
Prerna will
start?
open, share the
Okay,
PPT. Yeah.
okay, fine. So this PPT, I mean, I quickly worked on it just to maybe take you through some, just give you a glimpse of my artwork. And like I said, I started off, one second, just give me a minute.
Sure.
1 second, Prerna. Just a second. All right, fine. So, okay. Right. So, like you can see there, okay. So the second part of my talk is of course going to be, let's say, on art and how it's, let's say, it's come to my rescue. What I thought was, I thought I'll have some of the images of my artwork, run behind as, let's say, I'm talking. Right. So this is just a couple of lines that I penned down. So it says, a little broken, a little bruised, and scarred permanently, still trying to bloom, trying to fly, trying to stand tall, a little gracefully.